You know, there's been a lot of outrage in the shooting sports and the firearm industry lately about how some left-wingers are trying to ban lead ammunition. They say organizations like the EPA are coming after our gun rights by attacking the ammo. And a lot of people are like, what do we need to do about this? And I thought I'd take a moment today to address that question. I think the first thing we need to do is agree with them and help them. We need to get rid of lead. Lead is poison. You should never handle refined lead under any circumstances. We've known that for many, many years. The firearms industry has just been very slow in catching up to that. Most studies show that lead is more dangerous than asbestos, and we got rid of that a long time ago, and no one would argue that they want asbestos in their house, so I don't understand why people would argue that they want lead in their ammunition. Now, I know that most people that defend lead always say, well, we're only shooting it at ranges, and it's not dangerous at the range because no one's going to dig a well or plant crops at a range. Well, that'd be great if lead actually stayed on the range. That's not how the world works. When you have a bunch of lead put into the ground in places like a range, well, the first time it rains, that runoff goes somewhere, and it takes a lot of the lead with it. And that lead gets into the groundwater at the range. There's groundwater under the range, that lead gets into it, and it doesn't stay there. It spreads throughout communities. It is a real hazard. Oh, I know some people say, oh, there's lead in the ground already anyway. Well, yeah, there is lead in the ground already anyway. That's how we get it. But we refine it. We take it down to a pure poison. And putting that back into the ground is not a good idea. In fact, you can't even take water from areas that have natural lead. That would be poison to you as well. So why would you want to create areas of high density lead and poison the water? Now, a lot of people will say, well, just use jacketed ammo. That's okay, right? Well, no, this is not any better. It might delay the process, but eventually the jacketing breaks down. It usually breaks down when it hits the object you're shooting at, and it gets into the groundwater. It just takes a little longer. And it's not just groundwater. There's also many, many cases of animals dying of lead poisoning after eating ammunition at shooting sites, especially shooting sites that are near wildlife areas. So even jacketed ammunition is just as bad. It just takes a little bit longer to get into the water and a little bit longer to cause problems. And you know, it's not just the environmental hazards of lead ammunition, it's handling it. I have seen personally people suffering from lead poisoning that are reloaders, that work in the firearms industry, that work in other industries like making car batteries, etc. We've known about this danger for a long time and they take really big precautions against it. But I've known people personally, like I said, reloaders, shooters, etc. that have suffered from lead poisoning. And worse yet, I've seen their kids suffer from lead poisoning. If you have kids you take shooting, you definitely shouldn't want them to be around lead. Lead is even far more toxic to children than it is adults. And a lot of people say, but it's the way we've always done it. No one suffered yet. Well, that's where you're wrong. A lot of people have suffered. A lot of people have suffered from lead poisoning. A lot of children, etc. That's why lead paint and stuff is illegal nowadays. Lead bullets are pretty much the only real holdout in our industry other than things like tire weights, etc. Now, another thing people will often say in defense of lead ammunition is, that's the way the industry's always done it, and if we take lead away from them, they'll go out of business and we won't have any ammo. Well, that's a ridiculous argument. The same was said about the insulation industry when they banned asbestos, but they adapted, they got with the times, and they got rid of a hazardous product, and they're doing just fine. I don't see why the ammunition industry couldn't do the same thing. In fact, we already have lots of good alternatives to lead ammunition. Like Liberty Defense here, they already make a full line of lead-free ammunition, and it's not that expensive, and it's very well-performing ammo, does the job just fine, not a drop of lead in it. And they managed to make their ammunition without any problems, not using any lead. You also have the Barnes TAC XPD. This is also all copper, lead-free ammunition. It's a hollow point, performs very well. And then you have my favorite all-copper hollow point, Corbon DPX. This is also an excellent performing round. I always choose this round over its lead alternative when it comes to self-defense. This is an excellent round. Then you have one of my current favorite ammunitions, the Underwood ammo, using the Lehigh bullets. These are all solid copper bullets. Now, these are not hollow points. These are specially designed bullets, but these are excellent. These perform so well. I use these in pretty much every one of my carry guns now. Not a drop of lead in them. They're a great ammunition, and they're not that expensive. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, yeah, but they're more expensive than traditional lead ammo. Well, they are slightly more expensive, but that's because they don't sell as much of them. If this was the only thing they were making, they would be able to make more of it at less cost. So it wouldn't cost you any more than high quality ammunition that contains lead costs now. It could be pretty much comparable. And let's face it, these are our high performing ammos. These are our self-defense ammos. If we spent 25 cents more a box, would it really matter? If we could get rid of the lead, I think it'd be well worth it. And they don't even have to be any more expensive. There's ways to make ammo now that would be less expensive than the copper or the lead ammo. That's stuff like the recycled polymer ammo like you see with the ARX bullets, like in the Ruger ARX. This stuff is basically a recycled material. And they have self-defense rounds in it, like this one right here, this fluted round. And they have basic, inexpensive, unfluted target ammo also. I think these bullets are revolutionary. I think these could be the future of target shooting because, you don't need a target bullet to be that super performing. Now, these do perform well in this type of configuration in flesh, but just a regular bullet, just fully formed in this, no cutouts or nothing, would do great for target competitions because it's a recycled material. It's inexpensive. If you got it into full production, this would be inexpensive to make, and you're actually recycling stuff. So that's actually good there too. You not only get rid of the lead, but you're recycling other materials as well. So like I said already, lead does need to go. It's poison. So I think we need to start cooperating with getting rid of it. We need to start working with retailers, working with manufacturers to help them switch to a product that doesn't contain the poisonous lead. Trying to keep lead bullets around just because it's easier or it suits our purposes makes us seem like a bunch of assholes that don't care about anything but our own desires. I don't want to be seen like that, and I don't want to handle lead ammunition, and I don't want my children handling lead ammunition, so I'm all for getting rid of it. And as you can see, we already have multiple options when it comes to high-quality defensive ammo that does not contain lead. And with the new polymer ammos that are coming out, we also have an option for target shooting, for range ammo that doesn't include lead. So I think we need to stand together, unified, and say, you know what, we used lead for years, we didn't know any better. Actually, we kind of did know better, but we still did it. But we can say, there's no reason we want to handle this poison, there's no reason we want our children handling this poison, and we don't want to put it back into the environment in a refined form. So we're going to quit using it. We're going to move to something better. And it wouldn't be long before we could buy just as much ammo at about the same prices without putting poison into our bodies, our children's bodies, or into the ground.